All right, let me know when you're ready to start the debate.
I am.
All right, hit that button.
Oh yeah, I gotta do that. Gotcha. It didn't work correctly. There we go.
There we go. So I like to see. Hold on, is it actually gonna play? Or like make noise because I haven't muted.
Howdy.
There we go.
Howdy. Do I
Howdy,
sound
howdy.
okay?
Yeah, you sound fine. What's up?
I don't know. What's up with you?
Not much. We're playing Metroid Prime, which is a
No,
fun
we're playing
game.
Valheim.
So, you know,
Yeah.
in that respect,
I
things are
played
going well.
I played that a little bit when it came out, but I never beat the whole thing.
Nice.
I did just beat Metroid Dread though. That's
What
pretty
the
good.
fuck?
We're struggling with it now, you know.
Yeah, those
as
those
an
games are
adult,
tough.
Styling on our performance as a young one. Anyway, what do you have on your mind today?
Well, I suggest. Well, first of all, are we going into
What was
this
the lead
with
up to this debate,
preconceptions
chat?
of each other? I have preconceptions of you, obviously, but what do you? Where are you? What's our relationship like right now?
Well, my only preconceptions of you were that you emailed me saying that our opinions might differ on the subjects of gender theory, BLM, and pedophilia, which
Yes.
definitely has, you know, which definitely elicits some preconceptions. I've got to say, a bit of curiosity.
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah. It was a saucy way to introduce myself.
Well, hit me up with your introduction then, in an entirely different way then.
Okay, so I'm MrGirl. Some of you may remember my Cuties review. I think that's the thing I'm most well known
Oh my
for
God.
last year.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
son
was
of
the
a
guy
bitch.
that-
Yeah, I remember that.
And from the
It
criticals
got me
video on
banned from
Cuties.
YouTube for 4 months.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people reported that one. That's,
It did. They said they reported me for having child porn on my channel, and I guess YouTube takes that pretty seriously, as they should. Absolutely.
They don't.
And then, yeah, they just ban you and like check it out later, I guess. But it took a long time to get my channel back.
Oh, welcome back.
Thank
Unwarranted accusations on their part, then, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so my channel is it's
I
just like
hope-
a political
I hope
commentary and like
Vaush
I saw
knows.
Cuties and like just wanted to dive in, obviously. Don't clip that, anybody.
Right.
So my channel is about empathizing with people who have different political beliefs from you. So empathizing across party lines and trying to understand the parts of yourself that you don't like. Wait, am I on camera?
You are on my camera, yes.
Okay, okay. I'm just checking. I'm like trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, so empathizing across party lines, accepting the
You and
parts
me
of
both,
yourself
brother.
that are ugly or difficult or that you hate, to have more empathy for other people. So pedophilia was obviously like an interesting topic for me. I've brought it up a couple times, and I'm planning like a much bigger video on it, because that's one where people have a really hard time, like they really want to distance themselves from humanizing pedophiles. And your channel, accepting the parts of yourself that are ugly or difficult or that you hate, to have more empathy for other people. So pedophilia was obviously like an interesting topic for me. I've brought it up a couple times, and I'm planning like a much bigger video on it, because that's one where people have a really hard time, like they really want to distance themselves from humanizing pedophiles. And your channel, some stuff. Oh yeah, also I'm a rapper. I just came out with a rap album.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. It's being pretty well received by my core audience, but we'll see how people react to it beyond that.
Okay.
Your channel is pretty partisan.
Yeah,
So-
I'd say so.
And it's almost designed to be a pipeline, like kind of the way you talk and interact with people.
Yeah, I would say
Right,
so.
like
as
you're
well.
trying to draw people towards your view.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
And so, and my channel is kind of the opposite of that. Not, I'm not trying to drive people away from my view, but it's more about like convincing people to understand and empathize
Fucking
with and kind of
Crackerland.
humanize those that they disagree with the most.
Yeah, Crackerland.
And
USA.
so,
Hey, video.
we're sort of opposed just in terms of approach, And then I think also our beliefs are our values are different too.
Probably. I don't think there's anything antithetical about the positions, though. After all, even if you despise a person and their positions, you have to humanize them because otherwise you alienate yourself from the potential of adopting those views in the future. So, for example, if you completely otherize or dehumanize, say, fascists, you make it as though they're not human. Well, unfortunately, humans turn into fascists. So, if you treat them in that way, people adopt the impression that, for example, the Nazis or some entirely otherworldly thing, that it's not really a human issue, it's some magical evil that, snatches people in their sleep. So you need to be more nuanced than that so people can understand these problems take root in all of us.
That anyone can be turned into a Nazi given the right circumstances.
Certainly.
Yes, but I think from what I've seen, and tell me if I'm misinterpreting, that you also believe that there's sort of a balancing act of giving, if you give air to Nazism by empathizing with it, or I guess I just think that you speak very dismissively of ideas that you disagree with, particularly ideas that you super disagree with, like Nazism.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, yeah, you can
Right.
speak dismissively of the ideas, but you have to recognize that however malicious the
I'm gonna start
ideas,
building a
they
little
can
house
take
for
root
me.
in people.
Little
And
cabin.
suppose you can be sympathetic to the circumstances by which a person comes to
Oh, you're already
adopt
building
them,
something
if
cool.
for no other reason than because that sympathy can help you challenge those ideas, but not the
Right.
ideas
So-
themselves.
So I think we do have pretty different values. There's a brief intersection of cordiality where there is moderate disagreement, but it sounds like past that you're comfortable saying fuck Nazis, and I'm not.
I mean, I would hope.
And then it
What?
also our end goal
What?
is different, where
Wait.
I'm not trying to bring people toward my corner to the extent that I even really identify as having a corner.
What is your not corner, then?
Someone's mic is being cringe.
Like, I can tell you my stances on various policies, but I think I'm hesitant to really give it a name, even that feels sort of antithetical to what I'm trying to do, right? Like, I kind of want everybody to be an independent in a sense, or a centrist, I guess, where centrist meaning in that you have your stances on individual issues are formed based on your real values and beliefs, and not of those around you, and not from social or political pressure. So
But that's
I
how you
lean
learn
into
about
controversial topics
political
on my channel,
anything.
especially because
Yep.
that's a place for me to sort of like, one, have something interesting to say that other people might not feel free to say or be willing to say, and then two, it kind of just helps me prove like my meta point of like, you can say, this stuff, and the more of us that speak our minds and don't cave to the pressures of our political groups or our friends or neighbors or whatever, the more free we all are.
To do
Maybe.
what?
I'm not value neutral about it, though. I would much rather prefer people cave completely to hegemonic values if they're good ones than freely adopt bad values. I don't think we have to make that choice, though. I think if you have the right information and the right guidance, people can freely arrive at good positions.
Yeah, but you're talking them into it. So freely is
That's how you
talk
talk.
anyone into anything, don't you?
Sure, but
Yeah, that's
I mean,
how.
that's
That's
how you
how.
make arguments.
bipartisan.
I guess
Is he
I'm
arguing
trying
that
to talk
persuasion
people
is
out of
immoral?
stuff, and you're trying to talk people
I
into
think
stuff.
so.
You can talk people out of stuff as well, if it's transphobia or racism or whatever. But of course,
But that's also talking them into. You're trying to move them to a specific location, and I'm saying,
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Yeah. Hold on. He knows that.
I'm trying to
Hold on.
actively
Hold
not
on.
do-
This is.
This is not what I expected to disagree with him on this early in the debate, but I guess.
Okay, so he's trying to argue that by moving people away from more radical beliefs, you're convincing them of your own. But what is he convincing? What is he like moving people away from then? And would he not be moving them towards a different belief? If you move away from one belief, you are actively moving towards another. That's just how beliefs fucking work. What?
Unless you are a... Well, here's the thing. Is centrism even real? Is it even real anymore? Like, I'm not even sure if I believe in centrism. I think it... I'm not even sure if I believe it's a real thing at this current point in my life. I'm gonna be real.
I believe it's
is about as real as heliocentrism.
Centrism is about as real as. I don't really know politics. I agree with the people I'm talking to 90% of the time. That is what a centrist is almost always.
Yeah, I think Joe Rogan's a good representation of that.
Yes.
Joe Rogan just like talking to Bernie Sanders one
Yeah,
episode of his
socialism,
podcast,
and then he goes,
and then talking to Musk in the next episode. I think a lot of it is just Joe Rogan's brain is kind of like a sponge, and he literally his opinions will change on a whim depending on who he's talking
it's
to.
gotta be CTE. I say that as someone with CTU. That's what it's gotta be.
You think so?
Yeah, there's no way. CTE is traumatic brain injury. It causes you to change as a person.
That's plausible. Yeah, I mean that's definitely plausible.
Then again, from what I know, he's always just been a douchebag.
Sure, I think more likely it's probably. Wait, why are we talking about Joe Rogan?
Oh yeah, we got.
Wait, so any like thoughts so far?
This guy is fishing. He's fishing for something. He's trying to make the conversation. Oh,
I'm sorry. God.
I was just trying to let you talk since I've already talked quite a bit. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I'm not gonna spoil anything about the debate, of course, but like, I have seen the debate before, and to me, it came off more as MrGirl, like, being not even necessarily a centrist, just being really vague on his opinions. Like, he isn't. Right, but like there comes a point later where they talk about like one topic in particular where trying to take like a centrist stand makes no sense, and he basically just says, well, you know, like you gotta understand both sides of the argument. Like he basically does like the high school like teacher in history class.
Oh, devil's
like,
advocate.
oh, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, absolutely, actually, yeah.
Okay,
interesting. And that's all I had to say.
So, from the looks of it, he's trying to get the conversation into the idea that it's comfortable to be defending unsavory things for the sake of analyzing it. However, he's doing this with the ulterior motive of actually wanting to defend unsavory things because he knows that they are socially disliked and not accepted generally. That's how he comes off to me.
Seems like where it's going. Yeah, I can understand that. Like it feels like we're inching towards yikes territory, I guess, and we're kind of prepping for it. But I guess we'll see where it goes.
All right, let me grab my food off the fire and I'm gonna place it. Yeah.
I have no idea how to fucking play this game.
Not do that.
Start collecting
You think there's
stones off the
something
ground
wrong
by
with
spamming
pushing a
E
person
and
towards
punching small
anti-racism?
trees.
Yeah.
Why do you think so?
Also, the bird gives you a tutorial.
Well, it depends on how you're pushing them, obviously, but I think that Trump and the anti-SJW, anti-woke movement now is a sign that what we thought was working didn't work that well. That we were only giving the appearance of anti-racism and pushing people to give that appearance, and now they don't want to anymore. And I think that's very understandable, and I have a lot of empathy for the backlash. And
What is
I
the
think that
backlash rooted in?
Punching trees sounds
what,
like
like white grievance?
Well, white grievance has been around for a while. You had that back in response to the civil rights movement.
Vaush
Stuff
invented
even before
criticizing
that,
Minecraft.
abolitionism. They formed the KKK.
No,
because
that's
of
my thing, dog.
abolitionism, after all. I mean, it
Ethan,
seems
I
like
might
the
kill
blowback
myself
from
on
understandable
stream
too.
if someone
is
accuses
an
me of
inevitable
copying
product
Vaush because
of
I
any kind of
criticize
civil rights
Minecraft. I
push.
will kill myself on stream.
Well, we should get back to the video
I don't
though.
think the current
Oh, what the fuck is that?
backlash is inevitable. I don't even know if the backlash to abolitionism isn't. Freeing the slaves didn't go that well.
What?
Like, there's probably a better way to have done
I'm
this.
being attacked by
I would
something.
say that like a war
Guys?
is a good metric
Hold on.
for like that rollout didn't work.
Well, it wasn't really a
so-
rollout. We had to kill
But
a
you
bunch
can't
of
put a
folk.
timetable on another person's freedom.
Well, I'm
That's
saying
kind
maybe
of the
we
point.
didn't have to.
Well, how do you figure that? The South started
Also, I
the
don't
war.
know what we
Fuck is
maybe
a grayling?
we're also the folks
Hit
that
'em.
were killed
Basic monster.
for Americans.
Not hard to kill.
Well, I'm
You
grouping
can
killed
us
do that.
ourselves.
into anti and pro-slavery here, which I'd happily consider myself part of the we that had to kill them. But
okay,
in
but you
terms
see,
of the
my
Civil War,
theoretical approach to this is entirely different from yours, whereas I think of the South as the we as well.
and what about the slaves? Where do they fit?
They're also the we.
Well, don't you think
There
the
we
we
go.
that is the slaves might actually be okay with the fact that we had to fight a civil war to free us?
Yeah, that's my problem. I guess that's what my whole
Does that mean America was founded badly?
To talk to you.
We fought a war
That's
to do
exactly
that.
what I want to talk to you about, because I don't.
Oh my god. Okay.
I have problems with that. I have problems with righteous anger, righteous violence, righteous killing. It's the same problem you have with people thinking they can never be Nazis. That I think that if you're going to take a life or take many lives, being circumspect about it is important. And looking back and saying, like, you know, the Civil War was not ideal. It obviously would have been better to convince people.
Ideal. I mean, if you want to look back over everything in history and argue whether or not it was ideal, well, sure, it wasn't ideal. Nothing's ideal.
Well, I didn't mean to present that as a binary. I'm saying it went badly.
Well, yeah, they wouldn't give up their slaves. They
Ideal
left the Union.
literally
No,
means
see, I'm saying
ideal, the
if you
best
look at it
possible
from my
situation.
perspective, there's no they. It's just that
Very few things
were trying to
can
make
be
a change,
ideal by definition
and
of the word.
we made the change, which was a good change. I'm not pro-slavery, and I'm not anti-abolition, but the way we did the abolition turned out to kill like hundreds of thousands of people.
Follow my fucking Twitch and join my Discord.
Mm-hmm. All right, we ready?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Or something, right, like 150,000 or 500,000, like a bunch of people, right?
The cost of slavery. How would you have solved things then? I mean, they left the Union, you know.
Again, I'm not. You're presenting it as what I'm saying is the dichotomy of.
You're not saying anything,
slavery
dog.
or end slavery.
Oh, just wait until
The
he
way
gets
we
to the
did it,
fucking
I'm
pedo
saying I
shit.
reject that.
Well,
Just
then
like
how
I
would you
reject
strong
excited.
opinions on that.
this. I mean, I would do what I'm doing now. I would try to get people to humanize each other. I think if you can.
I think that you'll find the slave owners of the South were not amicable to your particular approach. I think they were quite set in their ways.
No one's you're not amicable to my approach, and you're far from being a slave owner. No one's amicable to my approach.
Let me ask you more explicitly, okay? So, with regards to the war effort, we could have fought the Civil War or not. Mind you, the South started it, you know, so it's not as though the North had prompted it. Hold on. So, if you were there, I mean, you can say, oh, I would have convinced him to stop slavery. But, like, if you want to do... Right, okay, sure. Then you could have convinced Hitler to not do the Holocaust, and you
I would have done that, too.
Oh my god.
Is there any utility
Wait, pause it,
here, or would you...
This guy's trolling. He's not being serious. This isn't a serious debate.
So when I first started streaming, I just want to tell the story. So I started streaming politics not too long after the Christchurch shooting, and I remember I said on stream something along the lines of, God, I really wish, like, people like this kid who got radicalized to the far right are the types of people that I want to be able to reach and potentially change the minds of. And then that person proceeded to have a mental breakdown, I'm not kidding, in the chat, saying that I was braggadociously saying that I could have prevented the Christchurch shooting.
What?
I find it... Yeah.
No,
you reminded me of that.
You were talking about wanting to prevent radicalization. That's... What?
I know.
That's
I know, Ethan.
I'm going to smash my balls with a boulder. This shit's infuriating. Alright. I'm gonna play the video. Holy fuck. I got whiplash when he said, yeah, you know, I think I could debate Hitler.
Would you have just been sort of a time-traveling saint, preventing all these atrocities that somehow the world's best statesmen weren't able to prevent in their time?
I don't think that you're being very fair in your setups for these questions.
Saying that you would have debated them out of slaveholding is kind of an odd way of going about it, no?
Well, I only said that because you made me say it. And you want me to keep saying weird shit? You can corner me into saying whatever you want. Yes, I would be a time-traveling saint. And I've traveled here to you, Vaush. I'm here now to work my saintlyhood. And you're going to bear witness to it. And, and it's going to change your life.
Then convince me, if you will.
Well, I don't want to convince you. Okay, we can talk about that.
What's the point of debating then?
Here. First, I'm just trying to introduce myself. And I'm trying to compare my approach to these general problems to your approach. And then you've led us down this path where now you're saying this incredibly complex thing, a war, with a million different factors leading into it. Then you say, well, what would you have done? Which is a trap. Anything I say, you can point to the other 99,000 factors that caused it and say, well, what about this? What about this? What about this?
That's a
And then we
dumb
can
thing to
play
say in the
ideological
first
whack-a-mole.
place.
But I don't want to do that. One, because I
It's
don't
almost
think
like that's
debate
how fucking history
is
works.
particular. I don't want to debate you.
What?
Well, I just don't see the point then of discussing some historical event and saying, you know, if your commentary in this is why I would have preferred a non-violent solution, I'm sure a great many would have. My issue is that,
Would
as
you?
is the case with, sure, if it could be done, I don't think it could be. That's the issue. I don't think anyone else.
Yeah, so it's an idealism thing. That's fine. So my point is not to convince you or anybody that there was an alternative. My point is to say, I think there's a different lens through which we can look at historical events that is less us versus them, less good versus evil, with always positioning myself as the good, which you just
Nazis
admitted is
not
not
evil, though?
necessarily a good idea to always do that. And to say, what if we look at the way...
Can you pause it for a second?
What moral relativism does to a motherfucker.
So like,
True.
so I acknowledge that that you can have the ability to disagree with someone without believing that they're acting in bad faith or with malice. Like, I think it's possible for people to be wrong and for them to be wrong for an understandable reason, right? Like, for example, I think under all circumstances sexism is completely bad, right? But like, if I met a woman who had been like recently raped by a man and just wasn't comfortable around men and like kind of hated men a little bit, I'd be like, I don't like sexism even when it's like women hating men, but I get it, you know? And it's not okay, but there's understanding there. So if I want to be like super charitable to this guy, I can understand. I could say that I understand where he's coming from. And I'm trying to be as neutral as possible and not let the small bits of what I've seen that happens later on in this debate affect my opinion too much going in. But I guess so far I'll say I get what he means, but it is still stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Because what he's arguing for essentially is complete political disaffection. The idea that, like, if you care too hard about anything enough to be passionately violent in favor of your beliefs, then you are the aggressor. You're acting in the wrong. You need to be empathetic with your enemy more.
Well, can he prove that aggression is wrong in the first place?
I do not believe aggression is wrong, not as a concept. I personally don't believe that. And I imagine maybe he does, or will claim that he does. Maybe, I don't know.
Hey Alex, quick question before we start the video back up. Since I don't like building, can I just like gather wood for you and then just gather stuff for you and then just like, you know, live in your house?
I like having my own house.
Whoa, sick baby, dog.
Baby?
That's my niece. I can mute real quick.
Oh, you're fine. Well, as long as she's done.
She should be done. She's not usually a squealer. Unless she's like really happy.
Yeah.
Don't say that around this guy.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid it.
I didn't want to make the joke. I didn't want to make the joke, but I had to. I'm sorry. Now that was a joke. All right, that was a joke and an obvious one. Please learn from my joke I just made there, MrGirl, because that was a real one.
Hey, I don't think. Hopefully, this does not fall into MrGirl's fucking map, age of attraction, or whatever the fuck they call the shit.
Okay, this is something I don't know about yet.
Minor.
Yeah,
you don't
like
know about
I think
maps?
like maps.
No, I know what a
you
map
about
is, but I don't know about how this relates to MrGirl.
Yeah, if you've
Okay.
seen like Shion had like a Prostasia video, like her most recent one. Like what maps will do is that they will like legit list what fucking ages they're attracted to. It's so fucking disgusting.
That's crazy. I should start listing bullet gauges. Fuck that.
Okay, not on my stream.
Oh my god, what the
my
fuck?
stream.
A log is stuck in a tree.
Careful.
Hey,
Yeah.
listen, they said
Yeah,
that you
it'll
can't
happen.
make threats against people. Pedophiles aren't people.
I can say this in a completely
Okay.
fine with TOS way. The
I
thing
will
is,
say I will say, and I've discussed this before, mostly in my anti-lolicon arcs, because I sometimes end up having to do those from time to time because they start it.
Yep.
One thing I do want to point out is that I do agree with the idea that put like really like violent, and it is a little bit virtue signaling, like rhetoric about pedophiles being like, yeah, I want to skin them all. Now, most people mean it when they say this, but I do think some people say stuff like that almost as like,
I'm the good guy. I'm the good guy. I'm the good guy.
I'm so violently anti-pedo. It's like, okay, man, yeah, we all
Well,
are,
remember, I had a situation I told you about recently where there was a guy like that. Yep, and it ended up being the complete opposite. I'm not saying that's always the case, but
like
it does come off a little bit projecty sometimes, though I think most of the time it's people reacting in a very reasonably understandable way.
In this case, though, I would argue that reacting instantly violently to someone trying to normalize it, like specifically to the actions of another rather than just going off about it, is a pretty fucking reasonable reaction.
Yeah, you're being engaged. You're engaging with an already existing thing, right? One thing I do want to say is I understand. I'm not saying I agree with. I understand the perspective of wanting to destigmatize it to the degree that, like, because pedophile and sex offender, or child molester, or child sexual predator are technically, they're different. Like, not every pedophile's done anything with kids, and we'd prefer if they got help so they didn't want to do anything with kids anymore and end up hurting one. But there's also a middle ground, right? We're not trying to normalize pedophilia to the extent that we're making platforms dangerous for children.
It's trying to create an avenue to make pedophiles basically self-report and get help before they actually become perpetrators.
Yeah, we don't want to have to like have a meeting and determine who's sus. We want to know
It is objectively better to have pedophiles not hurt kids than to have pedophiles hurt kids. And if the requirement currently to catch a pedophile is to see them hurting kids, then maybe we should figure out a way to prevent that.
Yeah. I will say too. Oh, done. Sorry.
No, I was going to say that. What'd you say, Bal?
I need to give you some wood. I'm full on inventory.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take your wood.
Oh, this game has a fucking weight system.
Yeah, it does. That's one thing I wish you could remove.
Or increase.
I do need to say.
Yeah.
I do need to say two things. Hopefully, okay. Firstly, my like genuine opinion on pedophiles is when it comes to people who like actually go out and like harm children or like consume content of children being fucking harmed, I think like immediately doing that makes you like a below shit rung human.
Irredeemable, yes.
Yeah. But like, and I believe in like.
I will say. Once you've harmed a child physically, that's pretty much... I don't know if there's any coming back from that. I'm not even going to attempt to try to imagine a scenario where you could. But like, I don't know if, like, lolicons, for example...
Oh, no, lolicons aren't.
For example.
No, no, they absolutely
are. They're weirdos, and I'm not a fan of them.
The thing to bring up. My buddy, I talked to his cousin recently, and because they were catching up, and she had this whole thing going on with, like, Lolly in her username, and all of her friends seemed to be really obsessed with it. And we were talking about it, and from the looks of it, it was mostly just weirdo fucking dudes who were older than her, seeing her when she was younger years before, and being like, ooh, I can mold her into this, basically. So there are a lot of people I've personally met and been like, hey, this is fucking weird, who I've talked out of, like, hey, this is... like fetishism of children, pretty much, right? And so I had a conversation with her literally last night, being like, hey, you do realize that some of the shit that people say towards you, or the fact that they call you this, is rooted in the fact that they're an infant, I can't say the word, you know what I'm trying to say. Infantilizing you, and lusting after childlike features and whatnot. And it's not even a case of, oh, I'm calling the grown woman a child. That's not it at fucking all, because it got into them trying to show her, like, child characters in a show and lusting after that, things like that. Yeah. Real fucking gross.
It's a real thing on the internet. It's weird shit. Right now, actually, there's something going on right now that's getting a lot of attention right now in the YouTube community, and I do want to take a look at that pretty soon. possibly today if we have time. But I heard the video is a bit longer. YouTuber by the name of Mama Max, not familiar with their content.
No, I don't know who that is.
Really, unfortunately. However, apparently they put out a video that's just taking YouTube by storm right now called YouTube Pick a Side, and it has to do with the pedophilia problem on YouTube. So
is it going to be like one of those
viral.
cases of what was the fucking guy who caused an adpocalypse who was completely LARPing about caring about it?
Oh no, that was legit, wasn't it? Wasn't the guy who was
I watched a break. I could be spouting bullshit, and I apologize if I am, but I watched a breakdown on it where it was basically he wasn't a real person. The name he gave and shit wasn't real, and it was
okay.
Yeah, it was like an intentional slander campaign because it was it came down to hurting actual YouTubers and whatnot. I need to find the video on it because it was he was basically trying to claim that all YouTubers who use this as a platform and as a way to make money were directly supporting pedophilia and are terrible people, and anyone who argues that we shouldn't immediately cause all advertisers to pull out only cares about their money instead of children, when pulling out advertisers isn't going to suddenly make the algorithms better at detecting child porn or things like that. It was complete bullshit.
That was concern trolling, absolutely. Yeah, okay, I understand what you mean.
But I will say one thing. So, like, just to finish up my opinions on pedos, but if a pedo is not offending and they know they know that it's wrong to do that and they swear, like, never to harm a child and, like, they get help, I think it's better to make sure that those people can get help without, like, being completely, like, socially ostracized.
Yeah.
And then another thing, concerning the MrGirl shit,
Well,
and also,
really quickly,
like,
there is one thing I want to ask, because this is the sort of elephant in the room with this discussion, unfortunately, that does have to be talked about.
Huh?
The data that we have so far seems to suggest that you cannot unpedophile
you
somebody.
can't,
you do have to, like, there's apparently chemical castration's an option, but not very reliable from what I've heard. There's like just generally teaching them to try to, like, avoid having that urge, but more or less for them, you have to do what you would have to do to, like, say any normal dude who wants to fuck of age women, and just be like, all right, well, you're not allowed to have sex anymore, and you have to, like, give them therapy to just get them there, because more or less it seems like you can't unpedophile people.
I have met this is completely anecdotal. I have met people in my life who were sexually abused when they were younger, and you know the whole cycle of abuse thing that leads to a lot of where pedophilia stems from. After
careful though, you know, obviously, I just want to add this caveat. Obviously, not everybody who has been sexually abused or abused will end up becoming an abuser themselves. But it's
and I say that as someone who has dealt with things like that. That doesn't mean I'm gonna. I view anyone who's a victim of abuse as perpetrating the cycle, but it is a real thing that happens, so that's undeniable. And so one of the things that that happens with a lot of people like that is whenever they become aware of it. This could be a massive cope on their part, but I have had people detail their life extensively on how things have happened like this before, and they're like, in the end, I really just stopped feeling these things because I didn't feel that I needed to chase that kind of power dynamic to not be the victim in my own mind and relive those experiences. And because you know the whole thing about wanting to relive the experience from a position of power that really cycles it. When they lose that desire, then overall they will lose the pedophilic desires, but that's a specific cause of pedophilia. Obviously, it doesn't work for all causes.
There's an interesting thing that I heard recently. I don't know who told me, but it was an interesting fact that I didn't really ever consider. Like, you would think that, like, if you've got a pedophile that's attracted to little boys, that they'd be gay, right? Like a dude who's attracted to little boys. Not necessarily true. Pedophiles can also be attracted to, like, grown adult women or men as well, and that preference doesn't necessarily dictate their gender preferences for children.
Because pedophilia isn't a sexuality. Pedophilia is most often an expression of trauma or an underlying mental issue.
That's what more or less gave me the it's not a sexuality argument to use against maps. Is that, well, we found that your attraction to men or women is not affected when it comes to pedophilia. This suggests it's not a sexuality, you know. Yeah, it's interesting. All right, I have such a cool design. If Ethan, if you want to come check this out, I can show you what I did. I've got like a nice little fireplace, and I made it so that the top part of the roof has vent. You have to see it yourself, but basically it means I can fill up my house with torches to light it up and not have to worry about smoke accumulation. I built it like a traditional Viking-style cabin.
I'm working on my place right now, so hold on, it'll be a bit. But you guys ready to actually to talk about the lolly shit again? Someone brings it up in chat. They feel lolly should be illegal. I'm torn because one, obviously no one's being hurt, but I do believe anyone who is consuming that media needs to fucking seek help. Absolutely. Yeah. And also the idea of trying to regulate that, I just can't see it going well. I can't see how they would manage to pull that off. I think it should be like, hey, our shit's already monitored completely, right? This guy is looking into a lot of really sus shit, and this probably already exists. Let's keep tabs on him. But then again, we already know the government doesn't fucking care about keeping tabs on people until...
No.
Yeah. They'll keep tabs
stop
on
paying
them,
their fucking taxes.
Yeah, they won't give a shit to actually stop any kind of harm done to people. Fuck that. See, every school shooter in the history of ever who's harmed someone. Like, literally fucking
To be fair, I will say this. When I, well, okay, so the person who I'm referring to has unfortunately passed away, but they were a pretty close family friend, and they died when I was pretty young, and he was in high school around the time I was 3 years old, and it was right around the time of the Columbine shooting, like 1999. It was around the time I was very young, just a couple years later, and he said in gym he made a joke about blowing up the school, got visited by the police and expelled, and yeah, it was just completely like a joke that he was just making. He was talking to my uncle.
But we only ever seem to hear of cases of the jokes being stopped. Like, there are plenty of cases, such as recently, I forget what the shooting was, but it was basically this kid had been caught looking up for like bullets, shit at school, things for like
Yeah, it was very, very recent.
I can't remember the specifics, but he was looking up something to do with bullets in the school. His parents had illegally bought him an illegal firearm, and given him ownership of it, which you're not supposed to do because, well, he's a kid. They had
you know what they blamed the shooting on?
Let me guess. Video. Oh yeah, they tried to take a quote from the creator of the atom bomb. A quote that is very anti-war, anti-violence, and attribute it to Fallout 4. Because, you know, man, when I'm thinking of what I want to say before I kill people, I want to think of a random one-off line from Nick Valentine from fucking Fallout. I love Fallout. Yeah, that's where I'm getting it from. Not from the fucking... one of the biggest quotes in all of history before one of the most devastating weapons was dropped. No, couldn't be.
True. Robert Oppenheimer, yeah. It's sad, because, like, the original quote... was like literally Robert Oppenheimer going like, holy fuck, what have I done? Like,
it was a regret quote, very similar to the creator of Dynamite, who made it for mining. Was his original intent, is he invented dynamite for mining, and then that explosive ended up being used in war and to kill people, and he really
Yikes in the chat says, I think a lot of fetishes aren't heavily criticized that pertain or are tangential to real world harmful and unethical activities, and it seems weird to draw the line at lolly stuff in my opinion. I don't think there's enough evidence to suggest that fictional fetishes are enough to psychoanalyze someone and condemn them as a literal pedophile or whatever.
Well, I wouldn't. It's the question of what the fetish is rooted in.
Yes. So in the case of okay, let me self-report. I like role-play non-con stuff. I really fucking dig it. Right?
Hell
This doesn't mean that I'm a fucking rapist, obviously, or even like the idea of rape. In fact, I find it fucking disgusting. However, it does mean I like the idea of doing power play with someone. Completely different worlds for that specific thing. But in the case of lolly, they're specifically lusting after the idea of what's the word I'm looking for? Not that, an innocent and unknowing and vulnerable younger person. They're not lusting after the idea of play or like I would go as far to say that people who do like little play and shit, as gross as I think that is completely okay because it's between two consenting adults. The issue with lolly is it centers around the idea of child rape. If you find something like a lolly doujin, it'll be a depiction of child rape, not a depiction of two consenting adults doing some form of play. That's the distinction between lolly and other fetishes that delve into things that are more taboo.
Yeah, like for example, I watch I've watched, not I'm currently watching a lot of
Welcome to capitalism, my dude.
art of Lady D from Resident Evil 8. And I want to be very clear here. This is not a meme, okay? It is not a joke.
No.
When I say that,
Xander and I
would in real life. I would fuck a ghost.
Dude, Alex, listen. When we were charging our JOs, I'm telling you, there were terabytes of Lady D passed around. It was absolutely vile gooner behavior. All right.
There were runes emanating from the JO crystals.
Dude, I didn't know you could get JOs with runes. He didn't even know his had runes. That's how powerful it was. Like,
Okay,
no, this is a stupid inside joke.
Cherry's gonna be so mad.
I want to read one more message from chat because they typed like a paragraph from Geeky Lesbian.
228 viewers, by the way.
Oh, nice. Ethan, being honest for a moment, I do know someone who openly admitted that they had a lolly fetish, and the same year I met them, they were caught trying to groom a few minors in a server we shared and got removed from a server meant for venting due to concerns that they could do the same in their What? Do you want to know what happened after being removed from those servers? They said that what happened to them was cancel culture. I don't know if this is an actual self-report, but I think it's a self-report. So I had something similar happen. I had something similar happen. Dude who claimed to be super anti-lolly and was really obsessed with lolly character designs and the fact that they don't even look like real children. Here's an edit I did to make them look like real children. Like, holy fuck, that's something he really did, by the way. And yes, it is. And then, so in my friend group, we say some pretty vile shit to each other. Ask Zan, but all of us, everyone's cool with it. But one thing he would do is, with one of the younger friends in the group, is he would jokingly call her a lolly, which, on a one-off joke, would probably just us would just be how we are normally edgy, right? But it was a level of consistency where it's something that people often do use to mask true desires and whatnot. So I get exactly where you're coming from with that. But before Xander wants to rip my nuts off, we should play the video.
One second.
One thing I have to say.
It's fucking annoying. Whoever keeps like just tossing their fucking broken tools, stop that. I just keep on finding broken tools everywhere. Just go repair the fuck.
Yeah, okay, now that go into somebody, now you can go into, like, if you have to, you can go to my house. It's the one that's all lit up on the inside and has the fireplace. Just click on my on my tool bench, press E on it, and then there's a little hammer button, and you just spam that button. It repairs everything in your inventory if you've got the materials. You might not even need the materials. I think you do, though. No, you don't. Yeah, you don't even need materials to do it. You can just auto repair all your shit. Just spam it.
Also,
all right. So
one last thing. I'm probably about to leave because hopefully I can get on and concerning the MrGirl and Celine shit that happened on Twitter. Hopefully I'll be able to get a spot and talk on with Hans of Harkir tonight. So
isn't Hans having a meltdown on Twitter lately? I don't know who the guy is really.
It's kind of, yeah. And hopefully
been seeing it seems that way.
Hopefully I've looked into it a bit. Hopefully I can get on. If I do get on, like, should I like DM one of you to like or something?
The only advice that I can really give is just if you're talking. So I think that it is cursed to ever go onto a stream to defend somebody, like arguing with another person to defend another person. So if that's what you're doing, then that's not a good idea. But what I will say is if you're going to be talking about drama broadly, just make sure there are no gaps in your knowledge, because it's so easy when it comes to debates about drama that somebody can call out a very small, even insignificant gap in your knowledge and use it to their advantage. So
and try to be like, you don't know what you're actually fucking talking about. I see that constantly.
Yeah. So just make sure you know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, I have like Life is Strange, One Powers, whatever the fuck the main character's name is in that. If I fuck up, I can just it's like bloop, revert time.
I wish. God, yeah, Max Caulfield's powers would be OP for debating. Like, I know what my opponent's about to say right before they say it. Whoop.
God.
And if you can just like replay responses too to see how they work out. You know, just like keep workshopping responses and rewinding with that power until you get like
my favorite Philosophy Tube video, the data one. I liked that video.
That's a fucking amazing video.
Basically that, yeah.
That was a good video. Anyways, we gotta start the video.
Yeah.
True.
Okay, I'm talking.
Alright, I'm gonna play it in a second. Just gotta tab back out. Alright, everyone hush.
The slaves were freed. In one lens, you can see it as a great success, and in another, you can see it as a momentous failure in how that was accomplished. And I think it's a little self-protective to say, well, no, that's the only way that could have happened.
Well, I don't know that that's true. The issue is that what you're saying is meaningless. If your prescription here is that any historical... Hold on. If your prescription here is that we should approach viewing these historical events through the understanding that there was a better way, you could say that about anything under any circumstances. Any set of interpersonal or geopolitical circumstances could have gone better than the way it does. Nothing is ever perfect.
Absolutely. You can always do it better.
So
my problem is that we do not look at it through that lens.
Everybody looks at it that way. Nobody in the ramp up to the Civil War was thinking, all right, there's only one way of doing this. We're doing the Civil War, or we're not doing shit. Nobody thought that way.
I'm saying looking back.
Looking back, there is no point in thinking of other ways things might have gone through the lens of, well, what if we talked them out of it? Because that didn't happen. People tried, you know. They tried. They left the Union. They made state constitutions specifically enshrining the right to own black folk. I mean,
I don't agree that there's no point in looking back at past events in your life, or interpersonally or globally, and thinking about...
It's fine to learn from the past,
what you could have done better.
Well, what could they have done better leading up to the Civil War?
This is the same thing you just tried to box me into. You know all of the vectors that pushed us exactly where we went, and I agree with you in a sort of fatalistic sense.
Is he arguing that black people were too uppity?
There was no other way, because
he's already
one reality that can happen, and that's
exactly what I'm hearing.
And so any factor I say, well, what if we nudge this one this way? You're going to say, well, what about this, and this? And it's a debate. I don't want to debate you about that specific.
By the way,
I mean, it's really a value
right?
difference.
Like,
what is the value difference?
I want to.
I believe in.
Can you pause it?
Hold on.
Taking a narrative.
What's up?
Yeah. So is he aware that like the Civil War for the North wasn't even initially about ending slavery? Abe Lincoln only announced like, okay, we're doing the war to end slavery, when the British were like highly likely to take the South side due to their exports of cotton and like sugarcane and stuff like that. It was a big political move. The UK was going to send, reinforcements for the South to fight against us. And then Abe Lincoln was like, nope, we're fighting to end slavery. We're allowing black people to serve in the military now because I'm about to lose re-election and we're kind of losing the war. And that is what saved our asses. It was like a last-minute ditch attempt for the North to say, okay, yeah, we're going the anti-slavery side of things, but for the South, it was always to defend the practice of slavery. Just wanted to point that out.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me hop back in then.
A narrative that we all have, that we're all raised to believe, that abolition was it was a success.
What is a success?
Do you agree with the premise that the Civil War and the freeing of the slaves is generally viewed by Americans as a good thing that happened?
It was better than the alternative, sure.
Do you believe that Americans generally believe that there's a dichotomy of the alternative, continuing slavery, and what happened, war?
Yeah, because that's the dichotomy. Again, like, what do you want kids in history class to go, well, it would have been better if they'd settled everything peacefully?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just that's such a stupidly naive thing to say that I feel silly even repeating it. It's like, well, of course, obviously, yes.
Well, you're
I think one of the funniest ways to talk about this kind of argument that he's presenting is to bring it down to a very small scale. Xander, let's say that you and I are talking, and you want to stab me in the fucking neck. Like, you actually want to take a tri-tip dagger and rip my throat out, right? And you're angry. And me, I could probably talk you down, maybe, if I'm lucky, right? But I could also probably just defend myself and be safe. In a one-on-one situation, would a single fucking soul fault me for not attempting to de-escalate when there was the risk of my life? If you bring this to a small scale, what he's saying is like the shit that anyone would get mad at if it were applied to them. This is actual insanity.
Well, like, we could even use this to talk about like certain police brutality accusations, right? Like, there are cases, unironically, where I've had to defend the cops because sometimes, like, there was that one case where there was a girl that was about to stab another girl to death, and the cop pulled out his gun and shot the girl who literally, like, had the blade about to go into this other teenage girl's heart, and the cop shot this teenage girl, like, a few times, like 7 times.
Oh, yeah, no, exactly the video you're talking about. That was completely justified.
And people were like, why didn't he just tase her? Why didn't he just shoot her in the arm? And it's like, Doc, she was about to stab another teenager to death, and the cop pulled out a gun and saved the innocent teenager's life. It would have been great if no one had to die there, but, like, sometimes that's not an option. Sometimes we're put into situations where people make the decisions they have to have the best possible outcome, and, like, endlessly thinking, like, dwelling on how it could have been done better. And especially in the current political climate we're in, where people are using arguments like this to support far-right narratives that are ahistorical about how, like, the North were the aggressors with slavery, his arguments, whether he realizes it or not, are lending credence to the arguments of those that say the war of northern aggression. Or even, I mean, I would just love to read the MLK white moderate quote to this guy, because he's literally doing the white moderate thing right now. This is literally word for word exactly what MLK describes in that letter from Birmingham jail. This is exactly what he means, the white moderate. Put a timetable on another man's freedom. Preference for a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, than a positive peace, which is the presence of freedom, or the presence of justice. Yeah, exactly that is what he's doing right now.
No, you don't understand. He's clearly better than every person who's ever reasoned in history before. Clearly.
Yeah, it's a very naive worldview, for sure.
I wouldn't even call it naive. I'd call it almost egotistical. He's very much trying to... earlier, whenever he came into this, he posed it as if he was trying to express an opinion that no one else had. He said that he doesn't believe that anyone on either side, or really anyone, agrees with this type of thinking, and that this is like almost like some sort of revelation of sorts. When in reality, it seems like a cheap excuse to try to justify things that he knows are not savory in society, because there is no justifications for them.
Yeah.
This is there's this saying I really love, and that is, if something's so good, why hasn't somebody thought of it before?
I don't think that's something to necessarily live by, but when it comes to something as broad as de-escalation, yeah.
Well, yeah, no, that exactly. But like, it's usually applied to things like I realized it during the fucking Black Hammer land sale, like when they're like talking about fucking how great the land is. I'm like, dog, if the land was so fertile and shit, why hasn't somebody? Why are you the first people to buy it and try and farm on it?
Turns out they weren't. Not only was the land shit to begin with, but they were trespassing. Yeah. They got escorted off that property by the cops.
It's fucking great.
I'm so glad food doesn't burn in this game. Holy shit.
I can't wait to de-escalate the man breaking into my home.
True.
Alex,
all right, let's continue.
I'm taking your... Oh, damn. We only need 2 more leather scraps and I can make a bow.
Gotta kill some boar.
I need to... How do you get to the pickaxe stage again?
We need to kill the first boss.
Yeah, the first boss drops antlers. We'll have to kill it a couple times so we have enough. Oh, how's someone have coal? What the fuck? Where'd you get coal from? Oh, is that what stuff turns into when it burns? I think it does burn. Okay, never mind.
Alright, I'm gonna play the video. So let's just get to making shit.
Delivery was not very, courteous.
Well,
that is
what
what
I'm
I'm
better
saying.
if they could have just if there'd been no war and if everything ever could have gone well. But I don't understand what utility looking at this. It doesn't bring us any better understanding of the events at hand, certainly, because it's not pertaining to any specific fact set. You're just talking about it in the abstract. Maybe things could have gone better.
You see, from my point of view, if I'm looking at a country that is increasingly polarized and divided, we agree that that's happening.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm talking to various political people, and I have my own tiny little platform, my soapbox.
There you go.
That for me, if I'm worried about violence breaking out in the street and people increasing animosity that people have been taught historically must lead to violence, or it will lead to their worst fear. It will lead to slavery. It will lead to the Holocaust. It will lead to Jim Crow laws, or gay people being stoned to death.
Hold
or,
on. I already want to pause it again.
Oppressors do not act. Oppressors do not act peacefully. Okay.
No, notice how he can name a lot. He can name a lot of situations where it did fucking work, like to be violent in response to oppressors. But I guarantee you, he probably couldn't name a single situation where being a complete pacifist works. I wonder if he would go for Gandhi, but even then, that was not entirely peaceful. He was just at a peaceful demonstration on his own. I don't know.
First, they came for the. It's the quote. First, they came for the Jews. And I wasn't Jewish, so I did nothing. Then they came for insert group, and I did nothing. Literally, I forget who the quote's from. Very famous quote, having to do with the Holocaust and the Nazis. Having to do with, I didn't speak out because I wasn't part of the group and I was being oppressed. And then I was oppressed and there was no one there to speak out for me. That's the general idea. You do have to fight quite viciously against those that would oppress you. Otherwise, they will. If you engage in, there's a term for it, with politeness, with those that would subvert politeness itself, you're going to lose.
Is it appeasing? No, it's not.
I'm fucking drowning.
It's the same reason. It's the same thing. Like why trans rights is something like so fucking important to fight for.
This ain't. If you know that cop wouldn't have shot that girl, she was white. You think the cop wouldn't have shot a white girl about to stab another white girl to death, or vice versa? Like, the kid was literally about to stab another person to death, and the cop shot them. Like, that's a situation where it's like, all right, well. They were literally actively stabbing someone to death. I think it's okay to shoot them. And this is not... We don't have VATS in real life. Real life's not a video game. You don't aim for arms. You don't aim for legs. You aim for center mass.
And
if you're pointing a gun at somebody and you have your finger on the trigger...
You're killing them.
It's because you're about to kill them. No one points a gun at another person unless they intend to kill them. Real life isn't a movie where everyone's constantly pulling guns at each other and then it de-escalates and everyone's like, okay, we're cool now. We talked it out. It's not a thing that happens in real life.
Another thing, let's say he wouldn't have shot her if she were white. That's the wrong play then. Like he should have. He should have either way. And let's say racism did contribute to him doing it, then well that's fucking shitty, and that means he wouldn't have done his job right if it was a white person. And he, in the case of a white person actively doing something that would kill another person, lethal force is beyond justified. There's nothing to that. That's a complete nothing.
There was also... I feel like it's worth calling these instances out because they're pretty indefensible. I know people in chat who are stupid will try to defend it, so I just want to see how many people in chat are stupid. It's like that one video that a lot of people fell for. Thankfully, I didn't even see it when it came out, so I didn't end up sharing it, thank God. But it was a video of what seemed to be cops planting drugs in a black guy's car.
Oh, and then it was fake, right?
Turns out it was just a plastic bag of some. It wasn't even drugs, and the cop had picked it up off of the guy's back seat, and the guy had cut the video to not be to start right after that. So it was just a total lie. The full
which
video
is a great argument for body cams being on every cop at all times.
Exactly.
By the way.
Yeah. That'll prevent issues like that. A lot of people.
To be fair, I don't
pass that
fault
around,
people for falling for that stuff.
Yeah, Vaush did an apology because he shared it and then ended up getting shown the context and did an apology to correct that. And it happens. I've completely stopped retweeting stories and stuff like that have any political lean on Twitter without reading the article. Because there's been a few cases where I've either gotten really close to retweeting something or spreading some misinformation that I would have regret and that people could have called me out on, but then I caught myself and it's just like, ooh, let's play it safe from now on. So.
And that'll be something that people will fucking bring up to try to discredit anything you say.
Yeah.
All the time, the rest of time.
I think is kind of a dumb point to bring up. In my
if you have critical thinking, of course it's a dumb point. But in the case of getting easy dunks, critical thinking doesn't matter.
That's true. That's really
true.
All right.
Not wrong.
So I'm going to play the video.
Conservatives are afraid of the same things, but happening to white people or happening to Christians or of de-recognition or being having communism, having their rights taken away or whatever. Those are the things that they're afraid of. If everybody approaches this with, that lens, that which I believe is a false dichotomy, which you're saying is just historical truth, then you can see the utility for me of bringing up various events like the Holocaust and saying like turning it over and being like, maybe the way that the Germans were defeated, or that the Jews were, what remained of them were freed, didn't go that well.
Is he saying this like this is something people don't talk about? Let's talk about the bombs in Japan, right? It certainly stopped the fucking war, right? I think you would be hard pressed to go your entire life without ever hearing someone say that they think the bombs might have been a little much, you know?
Yeah.
Like
I did see something recently that put up like a pretty good argument that the
bombs,
nuking
yeah,
wasn't necessary, like fully necessary. Like, I mean, Japan, like it was more of like an arm twist from even just like a pretty like, non-controversial like historical understanding. We're arm twisting the Emperor of Japan, who didn't want to surrender. The war was won for us anyway to begin with, and that was more of like an arm twist of like, surrender, motherfucker.
I'm not talking from either point, either perspectives on this one, because I'm pretty uninformed overall. So I'm gonna like put that out there. However, one thing I will say is that I have heard arguments of what's the term for whenever you compare harm done by two different things and choose the thing with objectively less harm.
Equivocation. Oh, sorry. No. Okay, you weigh out like the scale. I mean, that's just compromise, right?
No. There's a
Oh, damage mitigation, or what's the term for it? Fuck, yeah, it's a word that I use a lot against Bernier Busters.
harm
reduction. Harm reduction.
Harm reduction? Is it harm reduction? Consequentialism, actually, you're right.
Consequentialism.
Yeah. So in a case of consequentialism, there are people who have been like, okay, well, if we hypothetically look at like how many rapes, murders, and whatnot were happening, because if you don't know about the Japan Imperial Force, then holy fuck'ems. I'm jealous of you, right? There were cases of people being like, well, if the war probably would have gone on this long before even them not wanting to surrender, they would have been fully overpowered, and in this time, this many people would be harmed, or maybe Japan was at fault for stationing military in where civilians were, things like that. But it's a really fucking complicated topic, and I'd love to actually delve into that at some point. But what I'm saying is that this is a heavily discussed thing. This isn't something like new he's bringing up. People talk about what could have been done correctly in the end, but I think everyone would say that we're happy the war's fucking over, right? And
yeah, people are saying we're stun locked. We got to resume.
Oh, yep. Let's go.
Like, we won, but like 50 million people died.
What superior military strategies would you have employed on the Western Front to have mitigated the loss of life?
Yes, I understand. I understand. It's the same thing you just did with the Civil War. I understand that you are well versed in all of the factors leading up to war, and that if
an ironic swastika
any one that I
avatar?
choose, you will bring up 20 more. That's not my point, though.
If you're
my
interested
in
the mechanisms by which you could avoid large-scale conflict altogether, I think those are worth looking at. But I don't think you have to.
There's a guy named
pontificate alternate histories in order to arrive at that.
Can't they be like original and quirky and funny?
That's fine, but then the
like I'm sick of the same six jokes.
Well, then how do we avoid that then?
Yeah, they literally can't.
I don't want another civil war.
If they wanted to be
I think that dehumanization is a necessary step in war. And what I'm concerned about is I see that happening when people disagree about political topics. I'm not specifically pointing a finger at you, but
it literally feels like I'm shooting feathers when you use a bow in this game.
Particularly the further you are toward whatever side you're on.
You got a bow?
Becomes increasingly punch Nazis.
Killing deer in the woods.
Fuck Antifa. BLM's a terrorist organization. Whatever the talking points are.
Do you think that rhetoric is comparable?
Yes.
How so?
It reads like war propaganda. I just think it's the same thing that you have to convince people of in order to convince them to kill another person. And I don't think we should be doing that.
Well, should it come
so
down
that's why
to it?
pedophilia that's why pedophilia is so attractive to me.
Well, okay, all right, we're getting to the interesting stuff.
Because
Whoa!
it's the perfect.
Hold on.
they're the
Can I rewind?
Sure.
Wait, how did he jump? Okay, I'm sorry. Holy fuck! I'm gonna play it.
BLM's a terrorist organization. Whatever, talking points are.
Do you think that rhetoric is comparable?
Yes.
How so?
It reads like war propaganda. I just think it's the same thing that you have to convince people of in order to convince them to kill another person. And I don't think we should be doing that.
Well, should it come down to it?
That's why pedophilia is so attractive to me. Because
Oh my.
it's the perfect.
Oh my
they're
God.
the most dehumanized group. And so if I can get people to empathize with pedophiles, if I had my time machine, this is what I would have fucking been doing before the Civil War.
What?
Then
Wait.
if you can empathize with a pedophile, you can empathize with anybody. Or a Nazi. I guess the right hates pedophiles and the left hates Nazis.
I think that
What?
disliking
You sure
pedophilia
about
is
that?
a fairly
Right? Like child marriage. What?
How does he arrive at the idea that the antithesis of Nazi is pedophile? And what?
At least everything I see from Nazis online would suggest otherwise. I mean, Nick Fuentes has very strong opinions on the age of consent.
No, guys. Child marriage is based in nice because I can't get any pussy. Zero. Zilch. None. I can't believe he admitted that. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
fairly bipartisan affair, or at least both groups play at it.
There's a fixation. I don't think the right likes fascism either, but there's a fixation
What?
on the right with pedophilia, and there's a fixation on the left with Nazis.
Well, they
I
don't know
think
what it
that
means.
these are largely incomparable, in large part because, first of all, I think a lot of the right's opposition to it is projection, a la QAnon. And second of all, I think that opposition to Nazism is quite justified in almost any form that it takes, constrained only by pragmatism. In fact, I struggle to imagine a scenario in which you would not want children being raised to the tune of fuck Nazis, young people taught why they should hate Nazis in school. Seems like an extraordinary virtuous
That
thing
reminds
to
me of
instill in
the
people.
extreme dad.
Well, because of the
Antifa,
reason you
on the
just
other
said
hand.
yourself. Because if you are raised to say fuck Nazis, you're being raised to believe you are not and cannot be a Nazi.
No, I think it's possible to hate Nazis while being sort of understanding of the sociological precursors to it. You know, what leads to it, what internal traits to fight against or to.
When I
to
see
purge.
hate groups, the groups who hate Jews or black people or gay people, I do not see the kind of socio-political, economic empathy that you're describing there.
Yeah,
To
because I
me,
don't think those are comparable. There's no sociological justification, not prescriptively, for hating Jews, black people, gay people. There's a very good one for hating Nazis. Actually, there are quite a few. So I don't
no,
think...
I'm saying that if you hate black people, if you especially say black looters, that
what?
hatred is usually not accompanied by a complex understanding that were you a black poor person with the same social and economic and political pressures on you, you might actually do the exact same thing. To me, hate and empathy are mutually exclusive. I guess just that maybe it's just a semantics thing, but I think raising people to hate Nazis precludes raising
No,
people
I don't
to
think
empathize
hate and
with
empathy are mutually exclusive.
Yeah, I would argue that they're
argument.
close to the
I think
same
you
thing.
can empathize with the circumstances by which people become them. But I think there's something categorically different between bigotry against black people or Jews and hating Nazis. In that, at least by the normative standards most people hold themselves to, you can logically justify hating Nazis. Opposition
that's
to
not
or
why-
even violence against them is something that you can construct philosophically and defend at academic levels if you want to. For black people and Jews, that just doesn't track. It's usually biases or just emotional hatred that really justifies their beliefs.
Well, I don't think that's true. I think there are legitimate reasons to dislike black people or Jews statistically. Well, I think it comes down
Holy
to
shit!
a combination of being taught to hate, taught to not empathize, and then taught to I guess just a lack of empathy and channeling of blame onto those people.
Oh, that I don't disagree with, but that can't be prescriptively justified.
But
you could only say like why somebody is that.
Well,
but
that's what I'm saying is I don't.
The
the mechanism by which you're saying people should be raised to hate Nazis is the same way people are raised to hate blacks and Jews too.
Not at all. They're very, very different.
I guess we might have to just agree to disagree. I believe if you tell your kids to hate somebody, they probably will.
Well, then how can you prescriptively justify hating Jews or black people? So not explain why people hate it, because that's a sociologist's job, you know, why are people the way they are? But prescriptively argue, you know, why should they feel this way or the other? How could you do that with a minority group? Because I can do it easily with Nazis. Nazis' political views make it actually quite easy to hate them.
If you, I mean, any group of people is going to do things that make it easy to hate them.
Prescriptively?
I don't think it. I don't know what the difference is here because you could just look around and see any group you see. There's going to be a fuck ton of people who hate that group. And if you ask them why, they'll be able to tell you why. And
he doesn't seem to fucking understand that what makes a group of Nazis is their beliefs. What makes a group of black people is their skin color. There's one is a passive trait about you, and the other is an active decision and behavior. What?
Yep.
Okay, let's go.
And some of the things they'll say will be true, and some of the things they say won't be true.
Actually stun locking for a second. One thing that always gets to me, and like why this type of content and doing these videos with you sometimes feel a little weird, is it is genuinely just bewildering to me, the idea that some of the things that we've said during this, talking about this, need to be said at all, or that there are people who that might be some sort of revelation to them. I just cannot comprehend being just bumfuck stupid. This is insane to me.
Ethan, as I do politics more and more, I get more and more used to hearing batshit crazy stuff and just being like, yep, another day at work.
I'm going to develop an ego after this, I swear to God.
You already have one, Ethan.
I know, that's the joke, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to play the video.
So I guess what I'm asking you fundamentally is, do you think there's a difference between a good thing and a bad thing? Or a good argument and a bad argument?
I don't think there's a difference between good hate and bad hate.
Okay.
I think that's where our disconnect is. So you think it is okay to not empathize with Nazis and to hate them, and I don't.
A slave's hate for his master, then, is to you the same as the master's hate for his slave?
Ooh. No. To say they're the same, they're not the same because you just changed the roles, so they're not the same at all. Of course they're not.
That's hate.
I'm saying
both cases there's hate between them. Is that not the same?
That's not a fair question.
Is it? I thought you just said that all hate is the same. I'm sorry if I misunderstood.
No, I said I don't think there's a difference between good hate and bad hate.
So do you think those are both bad hates?
Yeah.
Okay. But you think there's a difference between them?
A difference in how easy it is for me to empathize with one versus the other? For sure. It's a lot easier to empathize with a slave hating their master, obviously.
I feel like your association between hate and empathy is tenuous at best. I think it's possible to hate something while still being empathetic. In fact, I think empathy can actually enhance hate to an extent because it demystifies the person and it makes you more familiar with, or at least more receptive to, why they might be what they are, which can only throw the terrible nature of their choices further into the limelight. I don't think there's necessarily...
Do you have empathy for white supremacists?
By empathy, what do you mean?
Well, it doesn't matter what I mean. We're both using the word already.
Fuck do you mean it doesn't matter what you mean? Holy shit, dog.
For white supremacists. You're asking me why, because you're going to say, do I have like a scientific neurobiologist's like dissecting understanding of them? And like I know you have that. But my question is, do you care?
I'm not as educated as you seem to think I am. There are a bunch of characteristics associated with empathy, some of which I feel for white supremacists and some that I don't. So empathy in that I understand they're humans with fallible decision-making systems. Empathy in the sense that I know if born in the wrong family in the wrong time, I could have had the beliefs they have. Certainly. But empathy...
You care about them.
Care about... Yeah, I have to. You have to change their minds. But empathy, I think to you, I think you can have empathy for the Nazis as you bombed Dresden, I think that you could have empathy for the slave master.
Yes, I can.
You break his farming
the way I see it, what me and Vaush and Shark and Demon Mama and any political streamer of the type do, I think is about as empathetic when it comes to the Nazis and the people that we cover as you can possibly get. The life of Nazis is not a pleasant one. They aren't exactly, like,
happy people.
They're not happy people that are enjoying their lives as they currently stand. They're very miserable types of people. The point that I guess I would like to make is that when we go hard against Nazis, I don't think it's entirely out of hate. If anything, it's more like a tough love, Like, we're like, listen, all right, here's why what you're saying is fucking stupid,
It's like if you argue with let's say that you argue with family, and I would view most of my fellow man, if not all of my fellow man, as family to some extent, just a little bit more separate. So if you're arguing with family, let's say your parents, right? In the end, you would absolutely fucking love if you could, let's say in the case of a person who's come out of the closet and their parents are homophobic, and they argue about it. They might hold feelings of hate, and justifiably so, but in the end, I am sure they would fucking love if their parents came around to, okay, I understand and love you, because in the end, if you just say, oh, I understand why you hate me, that doesn't fucking do anything for you. You have to fight for who you are. I don't know. This is something that feels foreign to arguing to me, because the shit I normally argue my day to day goes into shit like a monetization model rather than like common fucking sense of, hey, I should defend my right to exist, Like...
True.
Hey, Alex, do you have some leather scraps?
Do I?
Yeah, leather scraps are a fun one to get.
Don't. Yeah, check my chests.
Alright.
I don't.
I'm
if you
one
need
short of a bow.
Literally what you have to do is run around the woods with the club and just kill pigs as you discover them. And then once you have enough slow scraps, you make a...
I do apologize, and if those tangents are ever incomprehensible as shit, it's just my thoughts while trying to say them are very much incomprehensible. It's wild to me.
No, it's okay.
I'm the same way, don't worry. Alright, let's continue.
Alright, I'm playing the video.
tools over his head and steal his clothes. I think you could have empathy for your oppressor as you slaughter them. I don't think, to me, maybe my definition of empathy is different from yours. It's a consideration of their humanity. But humans do things sometimes that make them worthy of death, at least in open conflict, I mean, if not through the judicial system. So we have different definitions, definitely.
Yeah, but that's not, I don't think that's much of a hindrance. I don't...
He's seeming to conflate empathy for compassion.
I swear to God, people who think like this just need to watch Game of Thrones or something.
Oh my God,
like,
Xander.
They need to recognize, okay, I see what people mean when they say you can understand someone's motivations and who they are and that they're a human, and also acknowledge they're a bad person, because it's a huge part of Game of Thrones, and shows that kind of follow that format is that everybody is somewhere in the gray zone of morality. But sometimes there are people in the black zone, but they've been humanized and they've got character to them, and you can recognize they're bad people who probably deserve to die or face some type of justice for their behavior, even though you like them as a character and understand their motivations as a human, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Jaime Lannister's a good example of this in Game of Thrones. Or Silco from Arcane.
Oh yeah, Silco's pretty cool.
Stay by the fire, Bouth. You're freezing to death.
I'm gonna play the video.
Turn off the fire.
I don't believe that people do things that make them worthy of death. I don't believe in the death penalty.
Judicially, I agree with you. I think there are better ways there. But, if Auschwitz-Birkenau is being staffed by Nazi guards who will open fire when Allied soldiers approach, I don't see any reason why it's morally wrong to crack a few off before you even approach the camp. Or knowing, for example, that there are supply lines that are, feeding the Western Front that you could bomb and save yourself the trouble in the long run. There are plenty of things that you could do that are justifiable and involve death, that are not judicial in nature. Warfare, the Civil War. I mean, they started that war, after all. Kind of
Don't put it out again, Bell.
And I think it would be better to admit to yourself that you're probably killing a large number of people who don't really deserve to die.
Sure, but
added
deserving there is kind of a tricky word. The better question for me is there a better alternative which hurts fewer people? And with regards to the Civil War, my belief there is no. I think that by the time the North committed to military action, that was the best possible option. And likewise with Nazi Germany. We should have started off way earlier with that one, in fact.
So I understand that's your belief, but do you
ice,
understand
banana ice fate.
mine?
Christopher Ryan.
Well, I think that yours is inapplicable mostly. I don't know how you can make decisions if
Well, whether
you're
you think
always
it's stupid or naive, I'm asking, do you understand it?
understand
Do
your
you
perceptions.
understand? Do you understand? Yeah. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
I understand where you're coming from. I don't know how it can motivate your decisions, though. Like, I don't know what like choices it would lead a person to. Like, how would it influence their behavior?
My behavior?
If you had control over things, you know, I mean, if you had some meaningful power and you could influence the world. I mean, we all do, of course, in our own way, but maybe more. You know, there's never really the ideal option. There are shades of gray. And for me, it's just a matter of what the least gray shade is. I don't think there's an alternative. I feel that way about voting. I feel that way about ethics broadly. So, you know, do I wish things could have been better? Sure, but I know that there's probably not much utility in fixating on that past the point of no return. Right now, we don't need to have a civil war in the United States, right? I mean, we don't have to, I suppose. But one might happen, maybe, and if it is, then we should be ready for it, shouldn't we? And if it's not, then we should do what we can to prevent it. But I don't think people are gunning for it as though it's a foregone conclusion, at least not yet.
You care about white supremacists or other extreme political opponents of yours beyond your ability to make them into you or like you?
Yeah, I would care about then their ability to hurt me, and the people I care about.
I'm talking about a Captain Planet, Care Bear, Power Rangers care. You know what I'm asking you?
That's not
Care
real.
about,
Do
like,
you care about them the way you care about like a stray cat on the street?
I suppose.
Meowing.
I hope they have good lives. I don't think there's any utility in their
But do you
suffering.
have an emotional care? Do you know what I'm asking?
It's just an emotional, like, do I feel for them? I suppose. I mean, they languish, I guess, in their ignorance. I think that's unfortunate. But I don't know how relevant it is. I mean, do you laugh? Do you not think they are ignorant with their white supremacy?
I think that if we were like dating or something, and you said,
What?
Max, do you care about me? And I said, you languish in your ignorance. I don't think you would say like, oh, he cares. So it's not a.
There are degrees
Well, I
of
wouldn't date a
relation.
white supremacist, you know.
Well, yeah, I'm not. That's not my point, though. I'm saying.
I hope this
saying, do you
food system
care?
is how they do it in Hightail.
Yeah, they said that there's a hunger
feel like
system,
the
but it's
answer is
mostly
no.
for buffs.
Well,
and the hunger
I
system's
mean,
hidden.
caring has a lot of definitions, you know.
I'm using the one where you care about like a younger sibling, or you care about an old man who's trying to find a seat on the subway, like the kind of care where it's not a close interpersonal relationship, but you care about their well-being and you want what's best for them.
My interest in their suffering begins and ends at points where I think it's politically expedient. Anything past that,
Okay.
and I don't benefit at all from them being hurt. And
Yes.
as a general rule, I prefer people to be happy.
Okay. Do you see the difference between that and me saying like I care about Nazis and I care about their feelings and I want to,
Well, it really
help
depends
Hitler
on
would shoot
their
this man.
feelings, I suppose. But the nebulousness of the term
chill.
care is doing a lot of work here. I mean,
my
you
You can
know,
just see that
still.
I'm much
I know,
more
I know,
warm
I
and
know.
fuzzy towards my political enemies or whatever than you are. Like
Sure.
just generally,
143
we can,
degrees.
we can acknowledge that, right?
Neat.
I think my political enemies well deserve the scorn, you know.
Right, and so you see how that. So again, this is all just part of my introduction. That's the antithetical to what my channel is trying to do. I'm trying to say, give me your Nazis, give me your radical Antifa terrorists, give me your Muslim terrorists, give me your white supremacist, whoever's the furthest out, whoever thinks they're the most hated, pedophiles, everybody's welcome. Let's sit and talk. That's my channel, and it's not about trying to get people to switch sides. It's not about turning people against each other, and it's not about winning. So all that's just to explain where I'm coming from. Do you still want to discuss one of these three topics?
I'm not going anywhere. Sure.
Well, I was more asking if are you going to eject me, or are we?
No, I'm not ejecting you. I just don't know. I mean, you can treat it all with compassion if you want. I distinguish critically between good things and bad things. I actually think that's a very, very important distinction.
Yeah.
And
I think I don't as much.
Right. Well, I guess that's a way of thinking of things. Sure. Yeah. With that in mind, though, I have no idea what kind of prescriptive statements you could ever make on any issue if you don't distinguish between good and bad things and just sort of ubiquitously believe all people deserve consideration regardless of the morality of their positions. I don't know where you'd go from there.
I guess that's just not my compass by which I would make prescriptive statements or have preferences. I guess I think more of it as preferences. Like, if I see somebody riding their bike and then somebody says, "Do you want that person to get hit by a car?" I will say no, because I don't want it. It's not a philosophical stance. So I don't. Well, let's just see what happens.
Yeah, I'm
so
not going anywhere.
Do you want to pick one of these topics? Should we let the chat pick one?
No, dealer's choice. What do you have the strongest opinions on?
Are you sure? I don't think I'm the dealer, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, I think your stances on pedophilia are going to be more controversial.
Come on,
than mine.
dog.
If you're still sticking to your, there shouldn't be. What'd you say? I've seen no moral or legal argument.
Oh my fucking god!
Porn should be illegal. And a lot of people think I'm a pedophile, so I could do like a little PR repair by arguing against you there.
I think that my views on the subject are quite a lot less controversial than most people believe. I think I was making a very spicy argument against unethical commodity consumption that has been wildly misinterpreted. Such is life.
Oh yeah, I know what argument you were making, but
then why is that brought up?
I've heard two quotes. Okay, let's talk about pedophilia, because I'm getting ready to make a big video about pedophilia, I think, in the next few months, and I think
that's exciting.
I can't wait to react to that, Zan.
With you might be a good idea.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Probably won't do anything for my image.
We're gonna get stun locked within 30 seconds.
Okay. So, do you want to explain yourself, Vaush?
Oh, it's probably nothing my community hasn't heard, and also probably nothing you've not heard. But
my understanding is that you were saying if we're gonna
have sex with children. It's a hot take in some circles, anime lovers and the like, but
My understanding is that your stance is that if you're gonna say it's okay to indirectly use child slave labor, then child porn is not that different. That it's hypocritical.
My stance is that society has taken the easy route by denouncing an element of unethical consumption that they can all very easily agree is terrible, as it is.
Yes.
And that they have been very, very deliberately silent in other ways in which children are hurt.
You're saying they're both bad, not that they're both good, obviously.
That's correct.
Or that one is good. Yeah, I got that.
Quite happy that one of the two, at the very least, is currently criminalized.
Okay. Do you think owning child porn should be a crime?
Yes.
Might as well, right? I mean, we've already done the work on that one. No sense in undoing it.
Okay. Let's go to other. Do you think pedophilia, to any extent, is a sexual orientation?
No.
I'm not entirely sure what the DSM's definition of a sexual orientation is.
Let's say we're writing the DSM.
I think it's categorically different from heterosexuality, homosexuality, or anything else like that.
Do you think it is, to any extent, do you think it is the same as any of those things?
I mean, I suppose it manages people's attraction towards others, but apart from that, and I don't even think that's the critical point, right?
Pause it for a second.
Yes. Okay. Hold on.
Do you see any utility in?
I want to point out that it has been pretty widely agreed upon by like sociologists and criminologists and whatnot that rape, like, you know, adult on adult, for example, rape is not about, usually, like, vast majority of the time isn't like, oh my god, I'm so horny, or oh, that lady's so hot, I want to fuck her. It's usually something to do with power. The attraction there is a power overpowering of another person, and a putting down of another person is usually the attraction for rapists, especially ones that rape and then murder afterwards. I mean, what was the point at that point? If you think the girl was pretty, right? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, so I want to point that out because I think the attraction of rapists is quite similar to the attraction of pedophiles. And there are obviously quite a few comparisons to be drawn there. But I think the thing to point out is that it's not about, we wouldn't call rapists a sexuality, like people who are only into raping somebody and that's the only way they get off. We wouldn't call that a sexuality. Why would you refer to pedophilia that way?
I think,
yeah, or like prison rape, for example.
I don't think it's necessarily an orientation, but I think it should be compared in a way because, like, think of it like a pedophile is attracted to like the sexual characteristics of a prepubescent person, right?
Mm-hmm.
That of itself is like a category. Like, this is a person who is attracted to this. A rapist isn't necessarily always attracted to the person that they rape, but they might be, for some reason, maybe they're like attracted to the idea of like the having the power, like you said. So I think it's a category, but it's not necessarily like an orientation.
Yeah, I think the term paraphilia is what somebody in the chat used that I think seems like perhaps a good term to use. Yeah, I don't think the discussion as to whether or not it's a sexuality matters, because while I am on principle in favor of like if the reason why conservatives use the argument that like gay people are a danger to children as an argument against gay people, they're wrong about it, but it's because they recognize there's a difference. Like, if that wasn't the case, then it wouldn't be a problem. They know they're lying, but they recognize that if that wasn't the case, then there wouldn't be a logical reason to hate gay people, really. And I think that's what's going on here. Like, you can acknowledge that were there not harm done, it wouldn't be an issue. But in this case, there's harm done, right? Like, we don't want to acknowledge it as a sexuality, even if it is one, in the same way, because it causes harm just to enact that attraction. I'm a little high, I'm sorry.
All good.
I think at the same time, though, it has to be somewhat recognized as, like, I guess the word we're going for now is like the paraphilia. Is that what we're using? Like, it has to be recognized as that because, like you said, it's something that cannot be changed. Or
from
is
everything
very
we've
difficult
seen
to change.
Like in the same way that, ironically, conversion therapy doesn't seem to work. It doesn't seem like that works for pedophiles either. The two roads currently that we have is either like mitigation therapy, where it's just like, all right, whatever keeps you from actually doing anything with a child, or chemical castration or castration just broadly, which doesn't work from what I've seen. So at the end of the day, the only actual solution, the two options we have as a society is either we continue to stigmatize and ostracize pedophilia in the way that we have, and children continue to get hurt because pedophiles are the creepy dude who pulls up in the park and takes your kid away, or we make it so that while they're young, usually, these pedophiles will open up to their parents and get some type of therapy that will help them mitigate their desires and can get them put on perhaps a registry that makes sure they're not around kids, you know, like not living near, like in a school area. I think that's probably a safe bet.
Yeah,
and just find ways to mitigate it. And that seems to be the only realistic best case scenario where we prevent as many children as possible from being hurt.
I think the current method is like using there's like some drugs that they use to try and over time like slowly kill the libido of pedophiles so that they just don't want to have like any sort of sexual desires whatsoever. I think that's like the current main one.
Yeah, that's the one that has questionable like efficacy though. We don't know fully if that's working how we want it to be entirely.
I hate
but
shooting
it's
bows.
definitely a step in the right direction.
All right, you want me to play the video?
Yeah.
Labeling it as a sexual orientation.
No, I think it'd be the opposite of utility. The terminology is geared around the relationship between our brains and normative social behavior. Mental illnesses, after all, are defined as things that cause us harm in society. They prevent us from functioning normally. And I think that pedophilia, as you might guess, prevents one from functioning normally, to not put too fine a point on it. A sexual orientation should be something normal and healthy, but pedophilia can never be that. So a paraphilia is what it should be defined as. And I think that is what it's defined as presently.
I believe it is. Do you think that there is ever any utility in thinking of it as functioning like a sexual orientation? I'm not talking... when I ask this question, I'm saying... let me rephrase it. To what extent and why do you think it is a good idea to label it as a sexual orientation in various situations? For example, if you're trying to empathize with a pedophile, or if you're trying to understand that this conversion therapy might not work for this person, or that this person, yes, should be treated as though they're mentally ill or receive treatment for whatever, blah, blah. But also, it should be seen as this kind of like immutable part of themselves that they and maybe others are just going to have to live with.
No, because I think even if empathy was your goal, and, you know, one which could be, I think, in some circumstances quite suspect, depending on the relevant intentions, you can still be empathetic towards a person with a mental illness. You'd still define it as something socially non-normative, something destructive and harmful. By referring to it as a paraphilia, as opposed to a sexuality, you normalize its unhealthy relationship with social function, which I think is good, you know. Because, of course, if you call it a sexuality...
good.
As to not refer to it as a sexuality, yes, I think it's bad to refer to it as a sexuality.
But I'm saying you think it's purely bad. Like, there's no ever reason to ever think about it like that.
Well, that's not what it is, so there's no point.
Suppose if aliens had a gun to your head and told you they'd shoot you if you didn't change your definitions? I mean, you could always find some edge case. As a social rule, though, overwhelmingly...
Well, I'm asking you to search your heart and see if there is an edge case in there. And if you don't find one, then sure. But that's what I'm asking you about the edge cases. And something more realistic than the alien scenario.
I can't think of one. The alien scenario was my honest-to-God best
effort. You think I could handle
I don't think that there's
there's
any reason to. Even if your goal was
empathy the deer?
or, you know, corrective treatment or anything.
I have a flint...
I still think that you would have
Hold
to
on, let me pause the...
pedophilia.
I have a flint spear. I have pretty much the highest level gear you could have right now. I'm ready to fuck it up. I have a bunch of deer heads, too, and good food.
I have a bow.
What do I need for the flint spear? Leather scraps. Oh, I don't have any of those, do I?
I've
got enough to make one.
pants. Also, I think I'm gonna go for the leather armor.
You just kill it with a bow and arrow if you want. Yeah, I'll just use the bow. All right, yeah, I got all my Aether heads. I'll head to the crown thing.
Let's damage test.
Do it. Hey, that is a fucking troll. You did not shoot that, Balth, did you?
Where are you?
Yes,
Holy shit,
I
you're
did.
all out there.
I was damage testing.
Oh my god,
do
you
want help?
dick.
I have a bow. I can come help.
Yeah, no, you can't. We're running away.
Okay.
we can't find a troll this early in the game.
I fought one this early in the game before, I think.
All right. I hope he hits you against a big old tree and your spine breaks, because I am running away.
He's following you for some reason.
Valve, do I have to remind you of how we finished our playthrough of Valheim last time?
Nope, I've been thinking about it this entire time.
That means after you. Fuck that.
It ended with me being very mad.
Ooh, berries.
I'm normally very calm, however, why the fuck would you poke the troll?
I wanted to damage test. I want to see if I can take him on right now.
There are other things in the area, but yeah.
By the way, Zan, I've been cooking for the last like hour, and instead of listening to this debate, I've been listening to a debate between Destiny and 6 conservative women.
including Brittany Vente and Lauren Southern, about the pedophilia argument, and that has been a truly brain melting experience.
I'm gonna go on that stream next.
God. Yeah.
276 viewers, by the way, for some fucking reason. What
Hey, everyone.
Here? I mean, I'm not complaining.
Well, it's because
you
you
don't like
have,
the stream.
cool niche micro internet celebrity of like one small community Dink Corpse on your stream, and I'm like super relevant. Yeah. No.
And even niche.
I think it's because this is a hot topic and you're covering it at a really good time.
That's true. And playing a baller-ass video game while I do it.
I think this game's pretty mid, to be honest. I wish it had more content. It feels really
it's got good
really
bones.
unfinished.
It's got
good bones, no muscle.
I haven't played through any of the little bit. I haven't played through all the bones yet. So
when did you start saying the word mid?
I've said
Genuine
mid for a very long time.
Okay. I'm just making sure you didn't recently add it to your lexicon.
Ethan, you're probably a good person to ask. Just a quick off topic. You've heard of Satisfactory, right? Have you played it?
Unfortunately, yes.
Would you say it's a good game?
It's. I'm gonna say the word again. It's mid.
Josh says Hitler had many psychological problems. Yes, I agree.
I don't think you could find a man on Earth who thinks he's completely sane. Well, probably you could, but you get what I mean.
Observation.
He wanted to be an artist.
Where, Xander? Do you know where the tree thing is? Like the thing, the summoning thing is?
Map. It's where I am. Can't you see me on the map, motherfucker?
No, I couldn't actually see it, dog.
Well, I'm busy soloing this bastard. So.
You're fighting it now?
Already fighting it?
Yeah.
Why the hell didn't you tell us?
You're a bitch. I'm on my way.
I have two more spawns.
You just use deer heads to spawn it, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to tell us that shit, dude.
Dog, I'm on my way.
I want to get enough for my
Greedy
pickaxe.
bitch. I'm on my way.
Oh my god, I hate you.
Xander, when I see you in person, I'm gonna slap your ass with the might of God. I swear to God.
Hey, Grayling, why would you come in here while I'm fighting this guy who's like your boss?
Well, Graylings don't speak to anyone. Graylings are independent and raw as fuck.
Hitler was just trolled too hard.
Hitler just committed to the bid a bit too long.
They trolled him too much. That was his reaction.
Hitler was a grifter.
He was a grifter?
You think he was a grifter? I don't know if he was a grifter. I think he was pretty genuine.
He might have been genuine.
I think he was genuine with his intentions.
I need to tell you about wackiness quotients later, Zan.
Oh yeah, the bow does a lot more damage than the flint sphere.
Hey, fuck off. Kill Xander. Oh, damn, bitch. Alright.
I call first pickaxe considering I literally
Well, we're fighting them all at the same time anyway, so...
Yeah. I gotta wait for my shit to refill.
Thank goodness for that cocaine making him incapable of making any sound decisions at the end of the war. Very good.
Very well, it was meth, but yeah.
Have you guys seen the video of him tweaking out at the Olympics? I love that video.
Yeah, the Nazis were on so much meth, it's ridiculous. They gave them meth candy, the soldiers.
I am being DM'd.
Dude, how
Alright.
How triggered do you think Hitler was when he saw Jesse Owens beat all his perfect white Aryan race Olympians?
Probably not happy. I would not. The scene, that one meme where it's Hitler in the bunker screaming at all of his generals, probably happened.
Oh, because of Jesse Owens.
Yeah, someone needs to make an edit of that, but it's Hitler finds out Jesse Owens won the what was it, like 1930 Olympics, 1938, something like that. It was like the 30s, I know.
36.
36, yeah, somewhere. I was in the right decade. Alright, well, I'm tapping out. I'm only got 21 health. Get its fucking aggro, please.
Damn, bitch! He's coming for me.
Satanic Socialist, I'm curious, where did you hear this information? What?
Weird penis.
Did you go looking
that
for
mean?
this information?
That doesn't sound like information people look for. It just sounds like a. Do you remember when like the rumors you would hear in school, like about how the actor who played Barney shot the cameraman in the like the kids dinosaur
What fucking
show?
school did you go to, dude?
I don't know. It was just like a rumor I heard.
The rumor I heard was Barney, the guy who played Barney, was fired because he said "fuck" on camera in front of kids.
Yeah, it was a common one. Yeah, I heard that too. But the one I believe was that he came to work one day with a gun and pulled it out and shot the dibs for you. Okay.
Yeah, I helped you with the last one, so.
Alright, I can want one more spawn.
I
One more spawn for you, Beth.
Let me just go repair my gear first.
Yeah, me too. And make a few more arrows.
I got 60 arrows left.
Hitler walked out of the stadium when they were giving out the medals. Wait, don't scare that deer. I'm gonna get it.
What deer?
Dun 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 dun.
I have a thing for you,
Guys,
man.
please stop talking
Or
about
had for
Hitler's penis in the chat. Thank you.
Oh my god, I brought up Hitler's penis at a Christmas dinner. So I was at my friend's house hanging out with her, and I wanted to bring up Hitler's missing testicle. And her father said it was hilarious. All the rest of her family's female, so her father and I were the only dudes in the room. And he and I were the only ones who thought it were funny. It was funny.
Yeah, that.
It was funny as shit, though.
The only good room is a room filled with dudes.
Clearly.
Alright, I'm gonna make my pickaxe really fast. One
Here you
second.
go, I don't care for any of this.
Boom.
What the fuck? How do you turn the fire back on?
I don't know. Never turned it off before.
It just turned off on its own.
Well, that's weird. Making some more arrows. Making sure we're ready for this fight. Alright. 2 more of those. Don't need the hammer, but I'll just keep it there. Flint, I'll dump some of this. I'll take those. Let me dump some.
Have you found my little libertarian hut in the woods?
I did. I don't like that you're building far away from us, but it is what it is.
Why are you
I've got
building
extra
a
antlers in my
libertarian
chest.
hut?
So I can stock it full of bombs. I have napalm barrels hidden under the ground. I'm gonna have my
Ethan,
friend
Ethan,
fly
Ethan.
over.
Ethan.
It's in a game. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not TOS.
I don't know.
You don't
I have
know?
2 antlers. I got 2 antlers in my one of my chest mouth. If you want to make yourself an antler pick, I think we have enough. I don't think we have to kill Ether again. I think we've got everything we need. I'm gonna
What
go
else
put
is
the.
Ether no, wait. We need to go put Ether's head on the fucking thing.
I'll do it. I'm streaming it.
Yeah.
All right, you can resume the video.
I want to make a shield. I need 4 leather scraps though.
I think there'd be
Yeah, I'm
more,
playing. I'm playing.
more utility in that. I don't know what utility.
Did it not play? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were a therapist, right? I mean, if, for example, if you go into therapy and you say, you know, I think I might have this, that, or the other, you know, it's quite bad.
Right.
They'll
Make
refer
sure to
it
come
as
to the altar and
paraphilia,
get your
but I
deer
don't think that's
power.
antithetical to their goal of treating
Basically, I
or
think you press
mitigating.
it's F,
you know,
yeah, and then
your
you
non-normative
activate your
or
power, and you
harmful
get a
sexual
20-minute
desires.
cooldown.
I
It
think
gives you a
those are in
shit
line.
ton of regen on your stamina.
Doesn't also give you movement speed?
Is it ever good to if you're a pedophile to stop thinking of yourself as sick? To if you can't fix it.
You can't fix it. I don't know.
Like you're supposed to just accept that it's a paraphilia. I guess there's something wrong with you. That there always will be.
Yeah, well, I think sickness is kind of vague there. You have to accept that it's always going to be a harmful part of you. If it's something that you can't fix, I mean, you know, what is or isn't a sickness? That encompasses a lot of stuff. You know, having the sniffles is a sickness. In this case, it would be, you know, having a predatory desire or having a, you know, a predilection towards predation or something like that. That goes beyond sickness. I mean, sickness isn't necessarily socially wrong. This would be a, you know, some people have a compulsive violent thoughts, for example. I know that's a thing. Like some schizophrenics might have that, for example. If they want to go with sickness as the word they'd use there, then fine. I mean, the important part is that they know those thoughts are never acceptable, something they should act on.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I agree with you. What other contentious questions are raised about this? Simulate. Wait, I'm gonna change my headphones because my headphones are dying.
Been known to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Can I still hear you?
I can hear you.
Oh, maybe not.
Oh.
Oh, I have to change them in Discord.
Ah.
I forgot. Okay. Nice. Okay. Next question. Simulated child porn lolly stuff.
I think it's pretty sussy.
Pretty
Was that-
sussy.
I think that if you have an
Sussy
interest in that sort of stuff, you should definitely be checking yourself as to why. You know, like, the thing that really bothers me about this shit, apart from the fact that anytime you want to look at, like, hentai on a hentai site, you have to, like, negate the tag lolly and thus 50% of the site's content. The thing that bothers me is people who pretend there's no relationship whatsoever between, like, drawn lolly shit and actual attraction to children. Of course there's a relationship between those things. It's ridiculous to pretend otherwise. So they need to be aware of that, if anything.
Are you saying that based on common sense, or is there any evidence of that?
Any evidence of that? You mean, okay, so I've had a bunch of links thrown at me by people who are, again, very sussy, trying to argue there's not actually a relationship between instances of child predation and access to, like, lolicon or whatever.
I have to go after
I
this
would
video,
assume
by the way.
there is a
Okay.
correlation between people who really want to believe that and people who are pedophiles. So
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet that.
for sure that I'm going to agree with you there. But just you where you're at now. I'm saying, are you arriving at that because of like some study I don't know about, or you just think it's obvious?
It's not a study that I'm not speaking on this through a study you're not aware of. I think it's categorical. I think that the fetishization of youth, to the extent that you're fetishizing the bodies or mentalities of underage people, is categorically harmful. Because even if somehow, and I don't know if there's
I
any
have some,
research
tin
indicating
deposits
this,
marked
even
on
if
my
somehow
map.
you could find that there was zero correlation
pause it?
between any criminal behavior there at all, and you know, the widespread.
I have some tin deposits marked on my map. If you want to go grab them with me.
Yeah, let me drop some stuff off at the house, and we can go run out there and gather some tin.
I could also
Sounds
use some
good.
flints, and I could use a little bit more leather to make a shield and pants.
Actually, do you want to do the mining for now, and I'll make the little kilns and the smelteries at our
Oh, yeah,
little
sure, I could do
house
that.
area?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I could do
I'll
that.
have stuff ready for smelting when you get back.
Could you also try and get some leather scraps for me, if you can?
So
yes.
for those who haven't watched it, how worth is this last 10 minutes? Because I am a little pressed on
That
time.
we're getting up to where I've seen that where it gets good. So I recommend you press play.
Yeah.
Alright.
We're about to get to the point where it ends.
Okay,
widespread
okay.
consumption of hentai, lolicon, whatever, you know. I still think that it normalizes quite negative things, you know. Or to put it another way, like if I was a kid again, you know, and I'm not, and I like found my dad like looking at like fucking big honkin' Hooters porn one day or some shit like that, like that'd be awkward as hell. But you know, life goes on. The sun rises in the morning. But if I like walked into my parents, like, or whatever else, consuming like lolly or Shotokan or some shit like that, I think that would irreparably damage my trust in them. That there'd be some fundamental, like forevermore, some disconnect between them and my ability to trust them. And I think there's reason for that. It's not just like
I don't think we should get too personal here.
well, I'm just trying to explain that it's so I don't, without working on data here, I feel like it's just bad to fetishize that kind of stuff. We fetishize the fuck, for instance, out of female youth. You know, we do it to men too, to an extent, but mostly to women. And this like evolves in so many creepy ways that things don't even get talked about, like child beauty pageants or this. The obsession with like
That's
barely
essentially
legal
porn. Yeah, barely.
yeah.
legal.
So it's holistic. It's not just lolly or shota, though I think that's, you know, a particularly egregious outcropping of it. I think it's just this whole like long-standing global infatuation with young women. I guess youth in general, but the lolly stuff's more of a problem than the Shota stuff, and I think that should stop. It's probably pretty bad, you know.
Stop. And you think it should stop by what mechanism?
Culturally, I think it has to be opposed. So, like,
okay,
you
so
could,
it should be legal, but we should be like, hey,
you could raise.
Hey, Dad, don't do that.
Well, I'd hope I'd say that. You can raise the age of consent to 25, but then there would be like barely legal 25-year-old girl porn. Like that's going to remain no matter what like you legislate around it. And you can do whatever you want with lolly or shota, but then people are going to draw 1,000-year-old girls who just happen to have the bodies of 10-year-olds. You can always work your way around that crap.
Here's a thought experiment. I'm gonna open a string of strip clubs in Las Vegas. And it's going to be called MrGirl's Whatever You Want Emporium. Okay?
Oh, God.
And in one strip club, the strippers are 25, 24,
oh my God, what?
22, all the way down to infants. But each strip club, and this is a sovereign state, so there's no laws. In each club,
libertarian.
Everyone is the same age. Okay, so if you want to watch babies crawl around, or you want to watch 100-year-olds, we'll start at 100. So basically everybody, and everybody all the women on the planet have to work here. My question is, in America now, which club do you think would be the most popular if this were to open tomorrow?
In a sovereign state adjacent to America.
Yeah, and it's you know, there's identities are there's no issues of social ostracization. Nobody knows. Everybody's wearing whatever disguises.
The closest argument you could make there, I think, is from European literature from ye olden days, and it seems like predation against girls spiked up around like 14 to 16. So if you could, all the degenerate sex tourists.
Yeah, looking around you at America now. I want you to base this just on your sense. You know a lot of people. You talk to a lot of people about this. And we all.
You know, I haven't talked to a lot of people about this specifically. I'm going to.
Okay, well, we run in different circles, but based on your observations of American humans, which club is the most popular? Let's say men, straight men are going, and they're women.
Culturally, I don't think that we've done anything to appropriately discourage that kind of predatory behavior towards girls. So my guess is that it would be somewhere between 14 to 17. I think that culturally we've done
one-way mirror. The girls
little.
don't know. The girls don't know that you're. Is it even predatory to go look at them? They don't know that you're looking at them.
I would say that it's predatory.
It's a website where you can log in and look at locker rooms. Just forget the slavery aspect.
I would continue to believe that's predatory.
It's an invasion of privacy.
Yeah, for sure. But much harder type of predatory behavior to discourage if no one will ever know that camera was there.
If you put a camera in an underage girl's locker room and the police found it, I assure you that they would be able to very quickly, succinctly, and with great confidence explain to you what you did wrong.
All right, then I have to go take care of something. No, I'm just kidding. All right, what? Okay.
Whoa!
What if? Okay, motherfucker, you're adding all this shit in. I want you to.
I'm not. Okay. If you're trying to catch me in a hot take, it's not. I've argued raising the age of consent.
I'm not trying to catch. Do you think I'm trying to trap you after what I said to you? After I told you I was a Care Bear, and you think I'm trying to? You think this is a sting? Listen, androids.
Valheim killing.
Fucking perfect replicas. The strip thing again. No one is getting hurt. They just look exactly like humans. My question is, which club is the most popular? My question is, where do you think we're at? And I'm asking it in kind of a exciting way because we're in public. But where do you think we're at? What is?
I genuinely don't think that much has been done to culturally disbar the average modern guy from the attitudes that we had back in antiquity towards women and attractiveness towards women.
And what number?
I think it would be somewhere from 14. No, I think it'd be somewhere from 14 to 17. I don't
Which
think
one?
we've changed.
Those are big. That's a big difference.
I have no idea, and I couldn't even begin to think by which categories I would separate them.
Why would he ask this?
You know, I had a someone I knew.
Oh my god! Oh my god! This is about himself.
So, you know, if you're going to admit to any crimes, I would really rather not be listed in whatever federal reports are filed. So I would prefer it be done in a video on your stream, unrelated to my own.
No, there's no crime. Huh. No crimes.
Hopefully not, because it was kept in a sovereign state as opposed to the United States of America.
Yeah, this takes place in the United States. It actually takes place in Beverly Hills. Wait, are you? Can I ask you some biographical questions?
Sure.
Are you from Beverly Hills? I've heard this, but I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, I was born there.
Okay, but you don't live there?
No.
Okay. Because I worked in Beverly Hills for many years as a personal trainer.
Oh my god.
And so in the gym, you get to know people. People from different countries with different norms, and man, the shit they would say about high school girls and tell me like that if they could be with a girl of any age, if it was socially acceptable, it would be 15. It was like super like normal to them. It's very, very different from online discourse. Okay,
yeah, I think
so
it's deeply unfortunate.
Yeah, I want to get to that in a second, but you're saying 14 to 17, and you won't pick a number?
I will absolutely not pick a number within the range.
Because you don't have a guess, or because you don't want to be clipped saying it?
Because I don't even know by what category you would distinguish into that group, and because I'm referring only to my feelings on other people's predilections, not to my own. So you're not asking me for my preference, you're asking me what I expect of the average American.
No,
a group of which I have a very low impression.
Okay, but you don't want to say the number.
I don't have a number. Do you have a number? Is there a number you're looking for?
I think it's 15.
Well, I suppose we'll leave it to the historians to judge.
What? What? What the fuck?
16. It might be. I think it would be 14 at first.
Hold on, Xander. Where is he going with this? Like, what's the point of this?
I think it would be 15 or 16.
I don't fucking
is this
know.
consideration in line with your desire?
There's no commentary to give here. This is just fucking insane.
I'm just sussing out here.
What do you mean?
I want to
Well, I mean,
I want to contribute. I want to add something. But what the fuck do I say to this?
Why do I sound like a pedophile?
Because you're dedicating a considerable amount of thought to the subject of what type of underage girl people would be most interested in.
What color? If you had to guess what color their underwear would be, Vaush,
What the fuck?
Yeah, I would leave the call too.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's the notorious clip that I saw.
You people asked
for
the
should I pause it?
What do we get? This is on you.
Yeah, pause it.
Oh my, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, that was such a fun, wholesome time we just had, wasn't it, guys?
I am so happy I spent the past 2 hours with you doing this, Xander. I am overjoyed that that's the note this ends on. Oh my god, what the fuck?
We did it, chat. We made it through it. What are your thoughts, Ethan? Give us a... Oh. Did Ethan leave?
No, I'm here.
Oh. What are your thoughts, Ethan? Give us your hot takes, your opinions.
My thoughts were he came into that trying to start with the... Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm like beyond gone right now. Holy fuck. He came into it very clearly fishing for the like an in to try to get Vaush to agree to the idea of showing sympathy and like extending a little bit of courtesy towards those with unsavory or societally disapproved views, right? He was very clearly fishing for trying to get Vaush to say that he was okay with this. I'm so sorry, I'm stammering. This is beyond parody to me.
It's fine to stammer.
And so he was fishing for it, couldn't find it, and then ended up having to try to like use almost humor to normalize it, and just came off as a complete fucking chomo because I'm going to go out and say this. I don't know if Xander wants to associate with this because I know how the job works, but I as an individual and associate with Xander for the most part, view him as a fucking pedophile who shouldn't be allowed anywhere near children. Oh my fuck! what do I say to this? There's no there's with other political conversations we have, there's normally something to talk about or ideas to bounce off. In this case, this is literally a guy coming in saying, I like to think about the color of children's underwear, and I often speculate about which type of teenager would be the most popular to fuck. What the hell is wrong with you, dog? What the fuck are you doing with your life? I would say go outside, but I don't think you should be fucking exposed to anyone in society. What the hell are you?
Yeah.
All right. Let's hope I don't get any shit for the
Calling
rant.
a pedophile
But
a pedophile.
yeah. Listen,
Holy shit.
The impression I get there is that end part definitely sussed me out. Like, I'm not gonna... That anyone who's pretending like that wasn't really weird, and anyone who pretends like he wasn't just generally being pretty weird, I'm gonna have to say I don't understand where you're coming from, because this definitely gave me some weird vibes, for sure. Some sussy vibes, to say the least.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm like shaking, pissed off, not in like the normal anger way, but just like uncomfortable dislike this
Literally
situation.
shaking.
I'm literally shaking. I'm coping and sneezing right now.
Coping and sneezing.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
What can I leave behind to like unweigh myself so I can carry the rest of this shit?
I think.
Where
Hey,
are you, Alex?
Alex.
I'll come to you.
Alex, I think that's it for me today. I think I need to go unwind. I appreciate you putting me through this. I hope you have a good day. Thank you to everyone who came into the stream. My name is Dankorps. Deuces. Subscribe to my socials and tell me that I'm a pretty dude and that I'm really cool and I'm awesome and quirky, and goodbye.
Thank God he's gone. Holy shit, I'm just kidding.
I hope Ethan hugs a stuffed animal. He needs it.
I don't think he's got stuffed animals to hug.
Damn.
Well, that was something, huh?
Yeah.
Deer! Oh shit, I can just one-shot deer with my spear? That rhymed.
Yeah. I kind of want to get a spear. Spears are like, I think, the better weapon.
Just run to the water and collect a bunch of flint and some wood, and that's all you need.
I need a little bit more leather.
No.
I used all my leather to make a shield. And
Mama Max video now? Good idea, Lonnie. Yeah, we should watch the Mama Max video now. Let me just really quickly make a run back to the house.
Oh, I can come help you.
Oh,
I have
do I hear a troll? Did the troll run back here? Yeah, it did.
The forest is moving.
I think I can beat it this time. Oh, yeah, it means mons. Horde mode coming. And it kept its little amount of health. Nice.
Oh, perfect. I need troll leather.
Yeah, you like troll leather gear, right?
Yeah. I like keeping light.
Almost got it dead. We're gonna do the Mama Max YouTube choose a side pedo video that's going viral right now in a bit about YouTube and their lack of fighting against pedophilia content on their platform. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting. The video is going super duper viral right now. Everyone's talking about it. So if you don't know about it, then you're missing out on the entire discourse that's going on online right now. So we're gonna be covering that, and I have not yet seen the video, so it will be. Yeah, it's but it is pretty big. Oh my god, it was so close! I couldn't even block it. Okay, I'm angry now, but I gotta maintain constitution. Okay.
Well, I am defending Ethan's home.
Okay, let me do an outro. Alright, well, those are our thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like on the video, commenting down below. It helps out a lot. And if you like my content and want to see more from me, consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon over on YouTube so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video. And be sure to join all my social media, links down below in the description. I got an Instagram, Twitter, a Discord server where we play video games. I do watch parties. Super great community. Make sure to join that in the link in the description as well. I also have a Patreon, which I will be starting to upload exclusive content to soon. It'll be like reactions of movies and shows that will like sync up and will do with my friends, and just random fun stuff that I decide to do on the side. That like extra passion project stuff I'll upload onto the Patreon. So if you want a better way to support me and a little bit of exclusive Xander Hall content, go pledge to me on Patreon now, link in the description. And yeah, no matter how... Oh, and of course, if you want to support me financially, you can donate, subscribe, gift a sub, or anything like that over on YouTube or through Twitch or on my website, xanderhall.com/live. Any donations that you guys can offer are highly, highly appreciated, as this is my full-time job, and without the support of all of you guys donating, well, I'd have to get a normal job, and that would be quite upsetting, to say the least. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.